I just want to give a disclaimer that I don't really have a lot of the answers to the questions that I'm going to be raising in this video, and that's kind of the dilemma of a lot of the questions I'll be asking. So Juice WRLD's final album, The Party Never Ends, releases tonight, and what I'm going to be doing in this video is the first half is going to be kind of the lead up to this album and all the problems I have with how his label and his camp has handled his death. Maybe some positives as well, but mainly negatives. I'll be going through his 2 posthumous albums, reviewing them. Well, I wouldn't say reviewing them, but I'll get into that. And then I'll also, in the middle of this video, react to the new album, sort of reaction/review. And then in the end, I'll give my overall thoughts on how Juice WRLD's camp and label has handled his death and how The Party Never Ends. I don't know what's going to happen tonight, but we'll see how it cements in his catalog, and yeah, I'll give my thoughts on that. So for some background, like many people, I discovered Juice WRLD through lucid dreams, and I remember watching his Jimmy Kimmel performance, and I really liked his vibe that he was presenting with that performance, so I just researched him and became a huge fan after that performance in particular. And then I remember when Death Race for Love came out, and that's when I was like peak Juice WRLD fan. Like I loved this guy. He was my favorite artist. I remember when Death Race for Love came out. I remember that whole era, that tour for Death Race for Love, Nuketown, all that kind of stuff, hanging out with Ski Mask the Slump God. That was just such an amazing era, and he was my favorite artist at that time. Then obviously he would die. Then I think about 6 months after Juice's death, his camp would release Righteous, the music video for that song, and I think this was, I'm going to critique Juice WRLD's camp a lot, but this album in particular, Legends Never Die, I thought was handled pretty well. I'm going to have my criticisms, but for this particular song, Righteous, this was a perfect follow-up to his death, and I think this was needed. Like some of the lyrics in Righteous, I know that the truth is hard to digest, super eerie stuff, and I think this was a great move from Juice's camp. And then a few months later, Legends Never Die, his first posthumous album, would release. And like I said at the beginning of the video, there's going to be a lot of dilemmas with this just because he didn't actually put this album out. I don't know if I can even look at this as an album in his catalog. Like to me, his first album and then his second album are his only 2 albums in his catalog. For me personally, like Legends Never Die is more of just a tribute compilation type of thing. But I think it's really well put together, and most of these songs sound pretty polished and finished. There is definitely, there's some songs that definitely sound a little off and like they were already starting to kind of scrape the bottom of the barrel. There's definitely certain songs on this record that feel like they shouldn't have been put out. Honestly, like speaking about the biggest hit on the album, Come and Go with Marshmello, that song was massive, and I think that's great because that gets more eyes on Juice WRLD and hopefully gets more money sent towards his family. I think that's great. And speaking of Come and Go, like the sound of that song is super, it has kind of like a punk rocky element, and a lot of this record does have that as well. Like Man of the Year has that, and I think maybe Juice's next album, if he were alive, he was going to go in more of that direction. And so I think that would have been a better record to put out, maybe, is more of those type of songs like Man of the Year, where it kind of has this rock influence on it, because that does sound like where Juice was going to go. A song like Smile, though, with The Weeknd really feels like Juice really didn't have much involvement in. It seems like it was mostly made after his death, which I think is terrible. That's a terrible decision. I think they should only put out the songs that sound the most polished and the most like Juice would have wanted them out. Smile doesn't even seem like a song that Juice WRLD was really even had any part of. And this is going to be the big dilemma of this video, where is it okay to put out music from an artist without their consent? I think not, but I think of an album like Circles by Mac Miller. I think that album is a perfect posthumous album just because it really feels like Mac Miller made most of the record, and I'm sure they did some touch-ups after Mac Miller's death, but it feels like it was made by Mac Miller with its entirety. And with Juice WRLD's catalog, it seems more of just people in suits really using this dead guy's name to make money, which is absolutely terrible and disgusting. But as far as Legends Never Die, I think it is a good posthumous tribute album. With the spoken word elements of Juice WRLD talking throughout the album, it feels like a true tribute posthumous album, and they should have really ended it with, I mean, Man of the Year is the last song, and that feels like a perfect outro to just Juice WRLD's music in general. It kind of has this optimistic feeling, so it doesn't leave you all depressed about Juice WRLD's death. But they didn't stop there, and they would continue, and we'll get to the next posthumous record. Fighting Demons would release a year after Legends Never Die, and yeah, this is just the camp really scraping the bottom of the barrel with Juice WRLD's catalog. A lot of these songs sound terrible vocally from Juice WRLD, but like, can I even how do you even critique an album that wasn't put out by an actual the artist? Like, how do I review an album that wasn't even put out by that artist? I don't know. So I'll just say, like, his camp should not have put this record out. Legends Never Die should have been the last one. There is a few good songs off of Fighting Demons. Like, I like Burn. I like Not Enough. And I actually have never listened to this record in full until yesterday when I was prepping for this video. I had never listened to this album in full, which is crazy because I think this was around the time where I really started to stop paying attention to Juice WRLD, just because his camp kept putting out singles, kept featuring him on different songs, and I was sick of it. I was like, yeah, they're really just using his name to make money. I wasn't a fan of it, so I kind of stopped listening, and I did not listen to Fighting Demons in full. But Burn, Not Enough, those are good songs. But yeah, this is just his camp scraping the bottom of the barrel for unreleased music, and it seems like such a cash grab. Like, some of these songs, like I actually like Girl in My Dreams with BTS, but I don't know if Juice WRLD had much part in that song. So yeah, and they try to do the more spoken word type of stuff that they did on Legends Never Die, but they already did it once and they should have stopped there. I think this was around the time where a lot of people in Juice WRLD's camp started to reveal themselves to be pretty bad people. Like Ali Lottie, who was Juice WRLD's girlfriend, started selling his clothes, and she started like an OnlyFans. Just weird stuff. I think there were some other cases too. I'll put them up on the screen, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. There was definitely a lot of sketchy stuff going on with Juice WRLD's camp, and you could tell that people were just trying to profit off of this dead guy's name. And I'm looking through Juice's catalog right now, and I genuinely don't know a lot of these singles and EPs that they put out. I've genuinely never listened to these, and the few that I have, they just really sound like slop and just unneeded. Like I was saying, just trying to profit off of his name. Yeah, I hope with The Party Never Ends releasing tonight that they're gonna stop and this will actually be the final thing, but I doubt it. Maybe it'll be the final album, but I'm sure they're gonna keep putting out like singles and putting him on features. It's sad, but I'm not entirely against posthumous albums. Like I mentioned earlier, Circles by Mac Miller. I think a posthumous album can be done in a tasteful way. But there's the dilemma and the question that I raised that I have no answer to. Even if the music's good, should you release it? Because you didn't have consent from the artist. The artist never agreed to it. So I don't know. But with Mac Miller, it's a different case because that was kind of the only one posthumous album, and now with Juice WRLD they just keep releasing music. So I definitely know that Juice WRLD's camp is doing a terrible job with all the music that they're putting out, but with The Party Never Ends releasing tonight, it'll be interesting to just see, because I don't even know, even if it's good, it has to be done in like a tasteful way as well. Juice WRLD's in Fortnite as well. Okay, well, I'll be back later tonight to listen to the album, give my thoughts, and see if it's a good overall ending. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Okay, I had my turkey. The album releases in 5 minutes. I'm ready, but I want to give a disclaimer. I'm probably not going to like this album. Even if it's done in a tasteful way and from a Juice WRLD fan's perspective, this is a good album, I don't think I'm going to like it either way, just because going back to Juice's catalog and revisiting it for this video, I realized that like my music taste has really expanded since I was that kid whose favorite artist was Juice WRLD, and I still like a few Juice WRLD songs, like Man of the Year I still have in rotation. There's certain songs off of Death Race for Love that are still great, and obviously his first record is still pretty great, like Lucid Dreams is still a great song, but overall, like a lot of Juice's catalog I don't like, even the stuff he made when he was alive, and even the posthumous record Legends Never Die, which is received well from Juice WRLD fans. I don't love a lot of the songs off of that record, and I'm not going to revisit it. So even if it is done in a tasteful way and from a Juice WRLD fan's perspective, this is a good album, I might not like it as much, but I think I'll be able to understand that if it's done in a good way. But honestly, I'm not expecting it to be done in a good way. I think generally it's just going to be bad, and based on the cover, based on everything surrounding this album, I don't even think, I think it's going to be a bad record, but we'll see what happens and we'll react to it right now. Okay, the album is out. Let's look at this track list. 18 songs. Okay, we don't have the features. Oh, we do have the features listed. Nicki Minaj, Eminem, Benny Blanco, Offset, Fall Out Boy. Fall Out Boy's on this album. If you know my channel, you know I love Fall Out Boy, and I've covered a lot of their stuff, but this is weird. I don't think they ever met in real life or did anything in real life, so that's not a good sign, but let's get into it. Okay, that intro wasn't bad, to be honest. I mean, it definitely sounds a little rough mixing wise, but it sounded interesting, like something I never heard from Juice WRLD. All right, Misfit. Okay, Misfit was cool. It's one of those songs where I think Juice WRLD fans will like it. I personally, I'm not a fan of that song, but I think it didn't sound that bad. I think the mixing again is a little rough, but yeah, it doesn't sound terrible so far. Wait, this stands for, oh, this is All Girls Are the Same Part 2? Is this real? Like, I'm gonna throw this out there, and I hope to God this isn't true. Is AI gonna be used on this project? It's definitely a possibility. I didn't think about that. That wasn't a big thing when Legends Never Die came out, but could AI be used on this project? All Girls Are the Same too. Did Juice WRLD actually make this song? Like, it doesn't seem like a thing he would have done, but let's continue, I guess. Okay, a real quick thought I just had in the middle of listening to this album that I think is important to this video. I thought about Good Riddance as an album, and then I thought about Death Race for Love as an album, and really Juice had a lot of evolution for that album, and from Good Riddance to Death Race, it felt like he was evolving. And I think with releasing these posthumous albums, they're taking a capsule of time with Juice WRLD, and now there's not evolution in his catalog, obviously because he's dead, but this diminishes the fact that if he were still alive, I think the records that we would have seen from him would have been evolving, and now we're just stuck with this one sound that he was kind of tackling just because. So now there's no evolution, and that's another reason why posthumous music should not be released. So like maybe Juice WRLD didn't really like this sound is what I'm listening to right now with this album. This is Juice WRLD's like signature sound, but maybe that's not what he wanted his signature sound to be. Maybe he saw himself in the future being in a completely different lane. So yeah, just another reason, just a thought, I guess. Another thing I just realized is we have more posthumous records than we do released records of when Juice WRLD was alive. Not good stuff. Okay, well, there seems to be kind of a concept to this record so far of this. There's a Juice WRLD concert happening within this record. I kind of like that, I guess. This album is so far a lot more upbeat and energetic than a lot of Juice WRLD's music. It doesn't feel as emo, which is an interesting decision. I guess The Party Never Ends is literally a party. So, yeah, interesting, I guess. Okay, Goodbye with the Kid Laroi. It's literally just the Kid Laroi song, and I'm actually kind of a fan of this. It's definitely just a tribute song. Like I think this might have been a good approach to a whole posthumous album. It's not a Juice WRLD song. It's a tribute to Juice WRLD. I think that's kind of more interesting. I think that might have been a better approach to this record, to do more stuff like this. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Party Never Ends, the final Juice WRLD album. That was a terrible song to end his catalog off. Like Spend It is the last song for his catalog. I liked the outro with how Juice WRLD ended his concert saying you could be whatever you want. That was cool. That's a cool way to end it, but as a song, like, dude, yeah, this track list was not good. It was majority of these songs are pretty forgettable, and I'm not going to be going back to this. The only songs I really liked were Floor It. I liked Oxycodone. And I think that's really about. I liked Lace It as well. Lace It was pretty good. But yeah, this was just not a good track list. It really just, the mixing on some of these songs were terrible. Scraping the Bottom of the Barrel, even worse than Fighting Demons. And I was getting bored during this album, so I went on the Juice WRLD subreddit, and yeah, I think the Juice WRLD fans also share a similar feeling. A lot of them are saying stuff like, there's so many better unreleased songs they could have put on this. So yeah, I don't think Juice WRLD fans are very happy with this anyways. So yeah, I mean, I thought I would have more interesting thoughts to say on this record, but overall, like, they should have just ended with Legends Never Die. That was a good way to end his catalog off. And this just feels like more slop, and I don't know why this is the final record. This should have been the final record. Legends Never Die. Like, Man of the Year being the final song for his catalog would have been sick, but they've just continued with it, and yeah, this is not a good record at all. And I don't even know if I could say it, if I can even review it and say it's bad, because the artist that is attached to it didn't even make the music. And the song with Fall Out Boy was like, Fall Out Boy was just thrown on there. They obviously didn't make the song together, and then Fall Out Boy was just thrown in there. It completely switched the beat, and then it went back to the Juice World part with the other beat. Like, it was just just thrown in there for no reason. It was, yeah, it's sad. It really is sad, because it's just disrespectful. They're obviously just trying to make money. They put him in Fortnite. Like, what are we doing? Legends Never Die would have been such a good closer, and I hope they're really done. I hope they're done, because I doubt they're gonna stop. I mean, I know this is the final record, but they could put out more singles, more EPs. I don't think they're done, but yeah, it's just sad. Overall, Legends Never Die should have been the last album in his catalog. That's a good farewell to his fans and just Juice World in general. So yeah, just continuing to add slop to his catalog, mixing that sounds terrible on these albums, vocals that sound terrible, because the artists that made those songs didn't actually probably want those songs to ever be released. And there's no evolution, like I was mentioning. Death Race for Love had evolution from Good Riddance, and now there's just a time capsule of what Juice World was making at a certain point in time, and now that's the only sound that we're gonna hear from Juice World, and they should have just stopped. That, I guess I could say a whole bunch of other stuff, but that's the point of the video. They should have just stopped. They're obviously trying to profit off of his name, putting him in Fortnite, doing these collabs with artists that he never worked with or met. It's sad stuff. And yeah, posthumous records can be good. I'm not against posthumous records. Like I was saying earlier, Circles by Mac Miller, even Life After Death by Biggie. Like, there is good posthumous albums that are tasteful, and if the music's good, then I think that's kind of all that matters. Again, there's that dilemma of, even if did the artist want it to be out, but yeah, if the music's good, I think that's all that matters. And even from Juice WRLD fans, they're saying this album isn't good, and there's other unreleased music they could have put out. So yeah, Legends Never Die should have been the last in the catalog. And it sucks, because there's more posthumous records now than there is released albums for when he was alive, which is a terrible decision. And if someone, what my test is for artists is, if someone in 50 years found your catalog, what would they say? What would be their opinions? And if someone in 50 years found Juice WRLD's catalog, they're gonna see basically 2 albums that are sloppy, and then 1 that's kind of interesting and weird, and then 2 that are good. So it's not good. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below, though. Please let me know. If you're a Juice WRLD fan, what do you think of The Party Never Ends? Do you think this is a good closer to his catalog? And what have you thought of his other posthumous records, and how his camp and label has handled all of this kind of stuff? Let me know. Subscribe. Playboy Cardi likes my channel, so you should too. Like, comment, all that kind of stuff.